the expectations for Lynch are what as he makes his return to Seattle?
It feels like if you can get anything out of Marshawn Lynch, we're going to count it as a win because we know that he's a favorite in that locker room. And at a time when you have to win, to try to lock up a number one seed, to try to lock up playoff home field advantage, you'd love to have him than not, right? I'm a big fan of Skittles. I like Skittles being out there.
Did you see the car he showed up in?
Right? I mean, because
I wanted to know the mechanics of that. Like, how do they get that amount of Skittles in there? Is he in there to start? Does he get in the car? I mean, break this down for me.
Hey, man, I'm short, so I know how to make that work with the limited amount of Skittles in there, right?
Okay. I mean, now we're seeing, obviously, more importantly, the numbers and where Marshawn Lynch stacks up in terms of his history with Seattle. And on the other side, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's had an up-and-down season. And this is one of those games where if you're that guy, then you need to step up. And you've seen flashes of it from Jimmy G. How do you expect him to handle this environment, which is a hostile one, and where there are some real stakes involved?
I think he's going to be just fine because Kyle Shanahan has done such a great job of diagramming plays up for him that have guys just running wide open. And where are you going to go wrong with George Kittle as your safety blanket, right? If they can run the football against this Seattle defense that has been, to put it mildly, poor, I think they're going to be just fine. You're going to get a lot more out of Jimmy G in the play action.
Okay, so NFC playoff picture is absolutely crazy. Both San Francisco, as you can see here, and Seattle can be as high as the number one seed or drop down to the 5, maybe take on a Dallas team or the Philly team on the road. How do you see this game playing out?
I think it's going to be about the defense that steps up, right? Because we know that you miss Blair. We know that you miss DJ Jones for the Niners. We know that Richard Sherman can give you a boost. But if you can't get a pass rush against Russell Wilson, good luck. You know, we got Tulsa's finest out there in Tyler Lockett.
There it is. That's your first Tulsa shout out of the show.
And I'm
going to be counting these because I got about 4 in the newsroom back there.
Well, I'm going to be paying attention to him because I want him to get as many targets as a guy like Michael Thomas in this game because I think he can help you break it open and give you a boost with that run game that's going to need all the help it can get with Chris Carson being out, with Rashad Penny being out. You're going to ask guys like Turbin and Lynch to actually carry the load. I think Seattle wins this game, though.
In the NFC East, which is still up for grabs. With a win, the Eagles will make it 2 division titles in 3 years. Philly will have their hands full, though, with the Giants on Sunday, who obviously don't have much to play for, but have some talent in Saquon, who's playing really well right now.
189 yards from scrimmage to set that record. I think he's still waiting on a text message from Tiki, and then we had an outstanding game from Daniel Jones. Look, I expect Daniel Jones to turn the ball over, and when he doesn't, you get these kinds of games out of them. Now, the Eagles on the other side, they already are banged up, and we don't know exactly what they're going to have defensively, and I think that's the worry for me, because if all I got to do is dump the ball off to 26, that's an easy day for me if I'm Daniel Jones.
So there is cause for some concern if you're an Eagles fan based off of the opponent, more so in Dallas. We're going to get to you in a second.
Absolutely, but what are we really talking about when we talk about Carson Wentz and that offensive line? Now, I understand he give everybody sound bars for Christmas, but sound bars aren't going to protect you. And if you're going to run some screen game with Miles Sanders and the like, you're going to need Greg Ward to catch some passes to keep everybody honest. So what are you going to do on the outside? And what can Carson Wentz do to make things happen when he's back there and things fall apart?
And you mentioned to me and let me know that they were $20,000 sound bars. So that's pretty legit sound, hopefully. And hopefully for the Eagles' sake, it ends up being a win. But the Cowboys season, we can say, RJ, has been a major disappointment. And barring a miraculous maybe Super Bowl run for Dallas, it seems like changes are coming. Do we really believe that this is finally the straw that's going to force Jerry Jones to make some really impactful moves, whether it be coaching or otherwise?
We would think so, but it would take a Dallas loss this weekend to ensure that.
So you think, sorry to jump you, but if they were to sneak their way into the playoffs, everyone's safe?
No, man, but yes, right? Because if they sneak their way into the playoffs and then they make a run to the Super Bowl, how are you going to fire him?
Super Bowl, yeah.
Well, right. How are you going to fire him?
Yeah.
So if you make it into the playoffs and everything is once again on the table, then why are you going to fire the ginger clapper?
Yeah, he has shown that he is active when it comes to that version of coaching. By 7:30 p.m., we will know who is the NFC East champ. They have to give it to somebody. But as we sit here right now, who would you feel good saying that's who's going to grab this division?
Oh, man. I feel good about the Dallas Cowboys if no other reason than Dwayne Haskins is not going to be playing quarterback for the Redskins, right? We understand that you got more to play for with Eagles and, of course, the Giants.
Yeah.
But on the other hand there, man, if I know that I don't have to face your number one, if Case Keenum knows that they basically want to lock themselves into the number 2 overall draft pick, what are you going to go out there and play for exactly? Daniel Snyder? Maybe. But is he really engendering that kind of loyalty from his team? I don't really think so. So maybe you're going to get a Redskins team that feels down, that feels out, and a Dallas team that still feels like they could get in there and win this thing.